The Receipts tab behavior is similar to the Claims list. The purpose of the Receipts tab is to add receipts to contents for recoverable depreciation. The Receipts tab is organized by customizable columns. Column sizing can be adjusted. Columns can be sorted by clicking on the header for ascending or descending order. Multi-column sorting can be done by holding down the Control button and clicking on multiple columns. Sort order will be represented by the number shown here. The page can be refreshed by clicking on the Refresh button. To size columns to fit on the page, click on the Size Columns to Fit button here. Please note, you cannot change the order of the columns. To reset the page to defaults manually, click on Reset to Defaults. The entire list of content items is displayed. You can expand the Receipts section by clicking on the expander, which will reveal any receipts that have been applied, as well as the batch that it was created in. You can see the number of applied receipts in the Receipt Count column. Below the list of content items you will see the total number of content items. You can right-click on the row and choose from one of the options to open the content item. For example, you may want to open the content item in a different tab or in a different window. Columns can be added or removed from display by using the Column tool. The Receipts tab has some additional columns that you can add, like Room, Class and Limits categories. For example, by checkmarking the Claim Limit box, this column will display if the item has a claim limit attached to it.
After customizing the view, to save a view, click on the plus icon. You can save a view as your default, or create a view name. Once a saved view is created, it can be selected in the Saved View drop-down box on any claim. Filters can be used to easily find contents to add receipts. The Filter tool to the right or filter tools in the headers have the same function. You can filter the content items using the filter controls in each column heading, or select the filter icon and select from a list.
Receipts are organized by batches in Exclaim. To create a new batch, click Add New Batch. The first batch will be labeled Batch A. Every subsequent batch will follow alphabetical order. You cannot add or delete receipts from previous batches. Once a batch has been created, the Add Receipt icon will appear in the reference number column. Click here to add a receipt. The column will be expanded. The description, brand and model can be entered from the receipt. Simply click through the columns or use the Tab key to navigate. Type in the receipt unit cost and press the Tab key. The unit cost will be automatically added. The unit cost will be capped at the estimated amount for replacement. If you want to accept the entire receipt unit cost, and override the established replacement cost, you can push through the amount by using the arrow button. Or you can manually type in the amount that you want to accept from the receipt. You cannot exceed the amount that is entered in the receipt unit cost. To save the receipt, click on the Save Disk icon, or tab through the remaining rows. The receipt calculated fields will be automatically updated and will briefly be highlighted in teal. The remaining payable amount can be located in the Payable column. Please note that any payable amounts do not include the impact of limits or deductibles applied to the claim. You can use the replacement reports to get a final recommendation for recoverable depreciation once the entire batch of receipts has been entered. The number of receipts added to any item can be tracked in the Receipt Count column.
Some items may have a quantity higher than 1. For example, this item has a quantity of 4. If only a quantity of 2 were replaced, type 2 into the quantity box along with the rest of the information from the receipt. Once the receipt is saved, the remaining quantity column will display how many items are left for replacement. You can configure a receipt to ignore quantity, which will allow you to submit more receipts than the quantity of items. This is common with bulk items where there can be an unknown number of receipts applied to it. Amounts will not appear to be payable until the unit cost total has reached or exceeded the original replacement cost. You can only change the setting for Ignore Quantity on the first receipt that you enter. Once a receipt is entered, any future batches will use that setting, and that setting can no longer be changed.
A batch represents a group of receipts provided by the policyholder. It's customary for the policyholder to submit receipts once they start replacing what was damaged as part of an insurance claim. At the completion of processing a batch of receipts, the replacement reports will provide a recommendation of the amount owed to the policyholder. It is a good practice to update the Payments tab with prior payments, to ensure that the payable amounts reflect any previous payments. The batch summary total payable amount is located in the bottom right. Please note that any payable amounts on the receipts screen do not include the impact of limits or deductibles applied to the claim. You can use the replacement reports to get a final recommendation for recoverable depreciation once the entire batch of receipts has been entered. A new batch can be created or the most recent batch can be deleted here. Batches can be selected by clicking on the drop-down box. The selection of a batch will highlight the contents that have receipts in that batch, and also provide a total payable for the selected batch. When selecting Summary, it will display all receipts from all batches. You can enter in new receipts with the Summary view or with the latest batch selected.
Please note, receipts attached to contents can also be viewed or added on the Content tab at the bottom of the page. The instructions shown in this video will also apply.